and then the town board will remain to listen to the comments and concerns of town residents. Before we do anything else, I would ask you to all please rise. And Councilwoman Erin King Sweeney, would you lead us in the pledge of allegiance?
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And please remain standing as we observe a moment of silence for the victims of terror in France, the plane crash, the Russian plane crash, and all those who are suffering from terrorism around the world. Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, call roll.
Councilman Emerson.
Here.
Councilman Blakeman.
Here.
Councilman Hughes.
Here.
Councilman Santino.
Here.
Councilman King Sweeney. Receiver of taxes, Dr. Lex Taylor.
Here. Call the first item, please.
Proposed local law regarding regulations and restrictions for limited parking in Baldwin, Belleville, Weaver Beach, Merritt, North Merritt, Oceanside, Roosevelt, Unionville, and West Hempstead.
Okay, is there anyone who would like to be heard on any of these items? Okay, there being none, I'll accept the motion, please.
The motion adopted.
Councilman Emerson.
Aye.
Councilman Blakeman.
Aye.
Councilman Hughes.
Aye.
Councilman Santino.
Aye.
Councilman King Sweeney.
Next item, please.
Proposed local law regarding parking or standing prohibitions in Baldwin, Belmore, Levittown, Merritt, North Valley Street, Seaford, Uniondale, Wantagh, and Woodmere.
Okay, is there anyone who'd like to be heard on these items? There being none, I'll accept the motion, please.
I move the hearing be closed and the item adopted.
Second.
Councilman Emerson.
Aye.
Councilman Blakeman.
Aye.
Councilman Hughes.
Aye.
Councilman Santino.
Aye.
Councilman King Sweeney.
Aye.
Next item, please.
Proposed local law regarding arterial stops in East Meadow, Elmont, Levittown, Roosevelt, South Hempstead, and West Hempstead.
Is there anyone who would like to be heard on these items, please? There being none, I'll call for a motion, please.
Move that the public hearing be closed and the proposed local law adopted. Second.
Councilman Emerson.
Aye.
Councilman Blakeman.
Aye.
Councilman Hughes.
Aye.
Councilman Santino.
Aye.
Councilman King Sweeney.
Aye.
Next item, please.
Proposed local law regarding traffic regulations in the vicinity of schools in North Belmore and Seaford.
Is there anyone who would like to be heard on this item? There being none, I will ask for a motion, please.
I move that the hearing be closed and the item adopted.
Second.
Councilman Emerson.
Aye.
Councilman Blakeman.
Aye.
Councilman Hughes.
Aye.
Councilman Santino.
Aye.
Councilman King Sweeney.
Aye.
Next item, please.
Proposed local law regarding gross weight restrictions in Hewlett and Inwood.
Okay, we have Mr. Paul Gordon from Waverly Street.
I want to thank the town board for their stuff. We'll get some relief from the heavy truck traffic that we're dealing with right now. We've never seen truck traffic like this before. We're talking 24-wheel traffic, trailer trucks, dump trucks, haulers, and car carriers. I've taken a lot of pictures. I didn't get a chance to send it to you. We had debris falling in our yard, different accidents.
Councilman Blakeman and I are obviously very familiar with the area. We're familiar, I know exactly where your houses are. And obviously we're very happy to answer the needs and concerns of the residents. Well, we'll work, that's obviously going to be up to the police department, but we'll work closely with them.
You will be hearing from us if we don't get the enforcement. But
We will work with the police department.
I'm not ending on this. Thank you very much.
Understood. Very well.
hearing be closed and the item adopted.
Councilman Epstein. Councilman Blakeman.
Aye.
Councilman Hughes. Councilman Santino.
Aye.
Councilman King Sweeney.
Aye.
Next item, please.
Proposed local law regarding school speed limits in Baldwin.
Okay, is there anyone who would like to be heard on this matter? There being none, I'll take the motion.
Supervisor-elect, I'm beyond delighted to move that the hearing be closed and this item be adopted for the people involved.
Second.
Councilman Epstein. Councilman Blakeman.
Aye.
Councilman Hughes. Councilman Santino.
Aye.
Councilman King Sweeney.
Aye.
Next item, please.
Proposed handicap parking on public streets in Baldwin, East Meadow, Elmont, Roosevelt, and West Hempstead.
Is there anybody who would like to be heard on this particular item? There being none, I'll call for a motion, please.
I move that the public hearing be closed and the proposed local law adopted.
Second.
Councilman Epstein. Councilman Blakeman.
Aye.
Councilman Hughes.
Aye.
Councilman Santino.
Aye.
Councilman King Sweeney.
Aye.
Next item, please.
Proposed handicap parking on public streets in Baldwin, Elmont, Franklin Square, North Belmore, Roosevelt, Seaford, Valley Stream, and West Hempstead.
Is there anyone who would like to be heard on any of these items?
I move that the public hearing be closed and the item adopted.
Second.
Councilman Epstein. Councilman Blakeman. Councilman Hughes. Councilman Santino.
Aye.
Councilman King Sweeney.
Aye.
Okay, the next item, please.
Proposed revised public parking field maps in Belmore and Levittown.
Okay, is there anyone who would like to be heard on this item? There being none, I'll call for a motion, please.
I move that the hearing be closed and the item adopted.
Second.
Councilman Epstein. Councilman Blakeman.
Aye.
Councilman Hughes. Councilman Santino.
Aye.
Councilman King Sweeney.
Aye.
Okay. Now, before we move on to the administrative calendar, I know that Councilwoman King Sweeney would like to talk about some students that are with us.
Thank you. I'd just like to mention that Sean Lochner is here. He is a Seaford resident. He's one of my constituents here along with his mother. And he is attending tonight's town board hearing as part of the Boy Scout project. So thank you for all that you do. He's also a student at Chaminade. So continued good luck to you in the future. Thanks for spending your evening with us.
And we also have students from Malvern High School here tonight. We have a student from Hunter College, from Our Lady of Mercy, from Farmingdale, SUNY Farmingdale, and Malloy College. So can all of our students please stand? Thank you and welcome to our meeting. Okay, we will move on to the administrative calendar.
On the administrative calendar tonight, we have items 1 through 34.
Okay, would any member of the board like to sever any of the items on the administrative calendar?
Yes, Mr. Supervisor-elect, I would like to sever item 28 from the administrative calendar. I'm so moved.
Okay, second on that, okay. Now, on the, can I now have a motion on the remainder of the administrative calendar, every item except item number 28, which has been severed?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Then we will move on to members of the public who want to discuss the administrative calendar. I actually have only one individual who has wanted to speak about the administrative calendar. That would be Mr. Prokopsky. Please state your name and address for the record.
Felix Procacci, 1165 Bond Street, Franklin Square, New York. First item, number 6, like I said for the last few years, this is the fee that we spend to belong to the Association of Towns, and based on the way the town board conducts these meetings, giving more time to people who speak in favor of what they do as opposed to people who may criticize or bring up facts that are uncomfortable. I oppose spending $1,950 on this fee because we don't believe in what the Association of Towns believes in, which is, democracy and equality for all. Items 15 and 16. I see these are a lot of different equipment. Are these machines used for the mailings that we get?
Mr. Geary?
Yeah, these machines are used for the mailings that are disseminated from town hall.
Once again, I do oppose these resolutions because we send out way too many mailings. So far this year, I've counted 26 in the folder I have, and that's excessive. I know people who live all over the country in different states. No municipality sends out 26 mailings. They're pure publicity, and if you're going to do it, you should be honest with the public and move this line item to the publicity budget section of the budget, which only says $50,000. These mailings cost in the millions to do when you count all the personnel involved in the maintenance on this equipment and paper and so on and so forth. It's not environmentally friendly. We bill ourselves as an environmentally friendly town. We conserve the environment, and this is just a waste of money, really. And there's a much more efficient way of notifying the public. Item number 18, the Hempstead shelter, the crematoria, we spend $4,050 per month. Was this ever put out to bid?
Yes, that was a public bid.
I didn't see any listings. Did anyone bid on it besides this particular?
There was only one bidder.
There's only one bid, okay. Do you know the average number of dead animals that are removed from the shelter each month?
I do not have that information.
Because at $4,050 a month, to remove dead animals, the average is maybe $100 if you go to the vet. Depends on the size of the animal, of course. So we're removing at least, I would say, 40 animals, probably even more. They should give us a discount, but I think the public should be aware of this, what we're spending money on. Item number 20. I think I know what this is, but once again, according to state law, the municipality, the government agency is supposed to attach, if they have a high-speed website, include details about the resolution, and this has to do with, I guess,
Mr. Salmon here with us? Ms. Salmon, would you come forward, please, and just go through the details of the project?
Good evening, everyone. This resolution pertains to an early retirement incentive from November 25th to December 31st, offering 1% of current salary, defines the number of years in the New York State retirement system.
Are we going to have that? Usually we do this, at least for the past 2 years we've done it, where we gave employees until I think the end of February it was. Are we going to institute that program too?
As of right now, it expires December 31st, 2015.
Okay. The only thing I asked that we put that agreement on the website so residents can see what the law is. It is the law that we, it is state law that we do that, so you're in violation.
That will be done.
Okay, and also, when we talk about savings, this has been done in the past, when we talk about savings on early retirement programs, I've asked Mr. Conroy the question, do you include the rehiring of people? Because I noticed, I've studied this very carefully, that when we, let's say, let go a few people, not let go, but if 20 retire, we bring back, a certain number back into that same department. And I've asked, does the savings that the town is boasting about include the replacement value? And he said no. And I think it's unfair, deceiving to the public not to give a comprehensive savings. So you would have, if 20 people retired, you would hire 10 back or 20 back at a lower salary. The difference is with the real savings, not, just the savings of how many. So I just ask that you do that in the future. Item number 28, which was severed. Were there any personnel items on that, in that area?
Yes, the item is being severed, it was personnel calendar, the item is being severed because there was a glitch where it was not posted on the website, so in the interest of transparency, we are severing it. It will be tabled so that at a later meeting, it can be put up on the website.
I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
I have no one else who wants to talk on the administrative calendar. Then please come forward. Read the names for the record, please.
I have added to Fort Ray Cherry Place as well. Item number 11, the contracted trainer for the animal shelter. I'd like as many details as possible. How this person is certified, experience, and exactly what that contract looks like, the amount of hours.
Well, I'm sure if you want to put in writing whatever you want to know, we'll be more than happy to tell you what, obviously we're legally able to tell you. More than happy to do that.
Okay, so put that in writing to who?
Put it in as a foil to the town attorney's office, and we will give you whatever is within the authority to give you.
You want me to foil?
I want you to try to put it in writing, give it to the town attorney's office, and it will be answered with all the specifics that we're able to give.
I'm just confused. I was in the policy before.
If you want to meet with Ms. Petrie, you can do that.
I've done that. Petrie is not the person that should be.
So why don't you just give us a quick letter that tells me exactly what you're looking to get, and I'll make sure it's provided.
That I appreciate. Item number 18, when programs are successful, cremation costs go down, they don't go up. This is a substantial increase, and I'm just wondering why that is, and how come only one person, where was this bid? Where could other businesses find this bid?
Ms. Petrie, it's put out to bid on the normal course.
It's advertised in Newsday. As far as I'm aware, there are only two, and I could be wrong, but I'm aware of only two large animal crematorium services up in this area. So I don't know if it's a distance problem. And by the way, just as an aside, within the town of Hempstead, there are thousands of road lane miles. So the crematorium contract applies to any animal that's brought in. That's anything from the parks, that's anything from the sides of the roads. All those animals are not disposed of in the normal course. They are brought to the shelter. So
No,
that is the
understand that.
entire town of Hempstead.
Right, but
In other words, to clarify that, it's not just animals that are not adopted that are not adopted out of the animal shelter. It's, God forbid, if an animal is killed on the side of the road, it's our responsibility, if it's on a town road, to obviously deal with the situation, and that's included in this. It's not, these are not just, but the general public out there may not be.
well, but again, this cost keeps going up and up. So when you take a look at the programs, that should reflect this cost. This cost should be going down. There are other costs of the animal shelter that have been cut back that actually should be increasing. But this one has.
But again, we have a legal responsibility should an animal be hurt in a fatality and on the side of the road, we can't control the numbers of that happen, unfortunately.
I'm not-
We're legally responsible.
I'm talking about the general information.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else on the administrative calendar? Okay, so we will handle number 28, the item that has been severed, so
Mr.
Councilman Blake is here.
Supervisor-elect, I move that we table item number 28. Second.
Roll.
Councilman Emerson.
Aye.
Councilman Blakeman.
Aye.
Councilman Hughes.
Aye.
Councilman Santino.
Aye.
Councilman King Sweeney.
Aye.
Okay, so now we already have a motion and a second on the remainder of the administrative calendar, so clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Emerson.
Aye.
Councilman Blakeman.
Aye.
Councilman Hughes.
Aye.
Councilman Santino.
Aye.
Councilman King Sweeney.
Okay, do I have a motion, please? To adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Councilman Emerson.
Aye.
Councilman Blakeman.
Aye.
Councilman Hughes.
Aye.
Councilman Santino.
Aye.
Councilman King Sweeney.
Aye.
Okay, there was no, the box to speak or not speak was not checked off. Lori and Richard Landau, would you like to speak? Or not? You don't have to. Well, that was okay, fine, that's great. Okay. Nancy Giris, it was a question mark as to whether. Nancy, is Nancy here?
Yes, right here.
Please.
I think the Landau's one.
Oh, okay, you want to speak? Oh, I didn't know
I'm
that.
sorry, it's my first time here and I don't know.
Okay, Ms. Lando, yes, I called you first, please come forward. And then we'll get you, Ms. Giris.
I'm sorry.
Name and address for the record, please.
Lori Landau, 1975 Bayberry Avenue, Merritt, New York, 11566.
Okay.
Fellow councilman.
That's fine.
My husband and I and our children live on a two-home block. It's a very small street. It forms an H between two busier streets. However, our street is quite small. We live across the street from two restaurants, two venues. They do not have ample parking. It's been documented as such. They both operate liquor licenses, and people who park in the community because they do not have ample parking, not all, but some patrons have left very loud, very unruly, have dropped glass bottles, have dropped leftover food on our lawn in the street. Most recently, I have a young adult daughter who, when she chooses to go out socially and goes out a little later than I would, cannot come home and find a parking spot. And as you know, the world is not very good right now, and I shouldn't feel that I have to sit up and wait for her and be worried that she is parking quite a distance away when we live in an area with more than enough parking right in front of my home, my neighbor's home, right around the corner. But when she has to walk blocks and blocks to come home, it's quite upsetting to me. My husband and I and our neighbor have petitioned for no parking signs. That will hurt us as well as hurt them, but we're willing to do that because it's just not acceptable to be woken up what I consider late, but obviously a bar venue might not consider late. It's really their responsibility to have ample parking. And they have numerous times said that they would address it, but they just humor us. So we've gone through the proper channels, and this is a request for the parking, and I'm just giving you my side of the argument.
Landau, I'm your councilwoman, and I'm gonna have, Kathy, do you mind meeting with Ms. Landau now? And then, we'll set up a whole process and speak with you, and she'll handle it, and we'll be on top of it.
In all honesty, I think your office hasn't spoken to my husband.
Okay.
So I would, isn't it being voted on as a parking, how does that work now?
I didn't hear the question. May I ask me the question, please? I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
My question is, instead of just, I appreciate you saying that she wants to connect me.
But you have multiple issues here. You have issues, we have issues with respect to law enforcement, we have issues with respect to parking. So we'll try to help you on all of those different aspects of it. Once a plan is devised by Councilwoman Sweeney's office and traffic control, obviously you'll be involved, you'll know, and it gets voted upon at a meeting just like this at some point in the future.
I don't understand it's on the calendar for today.
Oh, it's what on the calendar for today? I'm sorry. You didn't speak at the appropriate time. I'm sorry, that's what we're doing.
I did speak to the appropriate time. Well,
Okay. So we passed, whatever restriction was proposed to you, we passed. When we called the calendar and I asked if anybody had anything to say, there was nobody. That's okay. What happened tonight was the item that pertains to your block was passed.
okay.
So
I
now,
appreciate that. Just walk me through this.
got it. Well, again, it was passed, but I still think you have other issues. You have law enforcement issues and things of that nature. So I think if you meet with Councilwoman Kim Sweeney's staff, we can help you in the totality. We're here to help you. We can help you in the totality of the issue rather than just the traffic aspect of it.
But if I walk away right now and go speak to Councilman Kim Sweeney's office, I can be assured that the parking permits have been addressed.
We passed it 15, 20 minutes ago.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Ms. Juris?
Yes.
Name and address for the record, please.
Nancy Garris, 513 North Atlanta Avenue, North Massachusetts. I have a question in regard to resolution number 11-21-646 in regard to the animal trainer at the animal shelter. I did hear Ms. Madden's question, but I was hoping perhaps there could be some general clarification for the public. Has someone been already hired for this position?
Ms. Patrick?
The item on today's calendar was to approve a contract with the trainer at the Bravo.
So I want to understand that somebody was in fact hired. And what's the start date?
Well, as soon as the contract is signed, it's passed, so it's as of today, so she can begin immediately.
And the parameters for the absolute, I know there had to be a criteria in regard to what we expected of the person for this position, the responsibilities. Did this position require certification and trainer?
The person was required to be a trainer, yes.
A certified trainer with certification from an organization. Is that
My
correct?
understanding of what a certified trainer is, yes.
Well, no, there are people that say they're trainers, but ultimately don't have the education or the certification.
Individuals experience working certified.
Terrific. Thank you very much for the clarification. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Stephanie Capuano?
I just wanted to read this as a
All right.
homeowner. I just wanted to follow up with
Can you speak a little more closely into the mic? Hold the microphone closer, that whole thing will move together.
I just wanted to follow up with the drastically cut program, the TNR program at the town of Hempstead. It was really a very promising program. We were really diligent in cleaning up neighborhoods, parks, colleges, schools. I would go into people's backyards if they had unwanted cats, kittens, just to prevent the cruelty and euthanasia that goes on, and thousands of cats. We were on a roll. It was such a great program to start. Now it's drastically, well, I feel uncomfortable talking already. It's drastically cut back, and I'm worried about the cats.
Could you quantify how it's drastically cut back?
Well, in the beginning, we were allowed to go and bring the cats, and a lot of times you didn't have to make appointments weeks ahead of time. Now we have to wait weeks. What good does that do me if I have a pregnant cat? There's an only short window now. It went back to 3 days a week. You can only go 3 days a week, and less than 12 cats a day. And it's not guaranteed that somebody will trap those cats. So I have to wait weeks, months now. And my fellow trappers, we were on a roll. We were doing great with this program, and all of a sudden it's horrible. And I'm worried because there's a lot of people out there that don't want cats, and they're not kind to them, they poison them. Not only that, but the staff needs to be increased with more qualified technicians. As far as I'm concerned, we're getting a lot of cats back that have infections, severe infections, and I had recommended my girlfriend to take this feral cat in the backyard there, and I feel so bad because the cat came back. I said, it's a great program. The cat came back with, the stomach had stitches, and then another time a kitten came back. She couldn't walk, she had a severe infection. So I've heard that there's regular people in there that actually help, do these operations or whatever, because they're underfunded, which I can't see. I mean, I live in Montauk, and I love my Montauk, but I don't want to see it to be such a kill shelter. That's why I'm doing this, and that's why we have so many of us. Cats are our cause. I like to rescue.
It's not a kill shelter, but thank you for your
Well, I feel like it is a kill shelter because there's so many that are being euthanized in there when there can be. So many of us want to volunteer and help to prevent this by trapping, TNRing, and they cut it back. And what I want to know is this. I have a great compassion for animals. I don't want to see this happen. We can make it work. Why can't they just increase the funding for this program instead of cutting it back? I just want to know who is in charge of this.
First of all, I again challenge that the program isn't cut back, but everything you say will be taken under advisement.
It was cut back because I've been doing it since the start. I was such a proponent of it. I also want to know who is responsible for following up with me. Nobody followed up with me when I was here last time. Who is the person that is in charge?
Well, the one who's the liaison to the animal shelter is Ms. Petrie, so Ms. Petrie will follow up with you.
Okay, and I also want to know, I am here just to prevent cats from being born because a lot of people don't like cats.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Diane Madden?
I have been here since Michael Pastore has been hired at every town board meeting, telling Kate Murray that he is destroying programs, he's destroying people, he's destroying animals. And you are going to hear from this day forward more and more, not just volunteers anymore, they're finally, people are afraid to talk. It's intimidating sometimes, and they're afraid they're going to lose their privileges at the shelter, their services. They're afraid Mike Pastore is going to retaliate against the animals because he's capable of that. But I'm telling you that I am seeing very encouraging signs that it's not going to be the same few people that have been here for the year warning you that he's destroying programs, life-saving programs that took 2 years, such as the buddy program, to be established. And we finally started seeing no lick wounds and no dogs spitting in their cages. And volunteers were allowed to walk in the back of the animal shelter and outreach for the most urgent animals. Now they're prohibited. Mike Pastore, every policy he has created and implemented has been a life-threatening policy. And he is from the New York ACNC, and that doesn't surprise me because of his background. So, we did this with Kate Murray, and we tried to warn her. And certainly enough, it was all exposed, and she had to do the right thing. And she had to do her 50-state search for a director. And she put in people that were animal lovers. And they were able to satisfy the volunteers and satisfy the staff. You had staff 2 years ago skipping around, not because, like in prior years, they got away with things, because they love animals. They saw that they were making a difference. When you have happy employees at an animal shelter that love animals, you see things progress. You don't have that anymore. You have employees that are being favored, and you have employees that are being denied and bullied. It's bad. And I just have to tell you, Councilman Santino, that if your approach is going to be to tell everyone you're taking things under advisement or to FOIA information, I will be the first to help these people figure out how to host monthly vigils, because they're having more returns on these animals than ever before, more bite cases on these animals. The buddy program is demolished, and I will help them raise public awareness, because the public won't have this. The public won't have this. Have a good evening.
Mr. Felix Picasso.
As you all know, I filed 2 ethics complaints, one against Councilman Santino and one against Supervisor Murray. I received a letter from the ethics board after many, many months. They indicate they're not authorized or empowered to respond to inquiries from the public, private citizens. Okay, so I have a question, and I have put municipal law here. I read the New York State Constitution. I have nothing else better to do. Who are allowed to make ethics complaints to the ethics board?
Mr. Rock.
The ethics board that's been set up under the law of the state of New York for municipalities responds to requests from town or government workers who have questions about their own issues or relationships with other businesses. And so that's what it's set up to do, is to give ethics opinions on for government workers.
So if a worker to my right had a question about whether another worker was doing something ethically, she can make a request, an opinion about that incident.
Well, generally speaking, it's for someone to ask for an ethics opinion on their own issues. But even as in your case, sometimes even if it's not 100% appropriate, they will, even though they're not empowered, they will look at it and give an opinion, which is what happened in your case.
The law, I read this, very small print, I read this 3 times. There's nothing preventing the ethics board from answering my request. There's nothing in the law, just because it's essentially silent on the issue.
Okay, but they did answer it.
No, but they really, in all fairness, it was an expected response. I couldn't imagine they waited until after the election to respond, and it was essentially, they gave me a big stack of paper, you handed it to me. I had 2 copies of the law, which I already had, and then they gave me back my complaints, and essentially this narrows down to 1 sentence, saying they observed something, and they said it's okay. But since it's okay, I mean, what they're saying is okay, is they're saying that it's okay for a town supervisor to go into the town shelter and parade confiscated dogs before the public, and call 6 press. My understanding is the shelter's overflowing with animals. Why isn't any of the members of the board here calling 6 different press agencies and trying to get these animals adopted? Why was it a special case when these dogs that were laced with heroin that probably couldn't be adopted for months, if not a year, until the case is settled down? But meanwhile, we have an overflowing amount of animals in the shelter, but she never made a gesture to call Channel 7 News and all the radio stations that she called on that May 14th, this year, because she was running for district attorney. And on Mr. Santino's issue, the fact that he's hiring a employee to work as a campaign consultant for his reelection campaign, there's a direct conflict, it's an indirect conflict of interest. How do you separate the two, whether they're working for the town or they're working for the campaign committee? How do you differentiate those two jobs? They're one and the same, so there is a conflict there. But, you know, what the ethics board did not do is they didn't even address the issue and say, it's okay for a board member to hire a staff member and then hire that same staff member as a member of their campaign committee too. They didn't say that. Why don't you, if they're so righteous, I mean, if you're all so righteous, everyone says there's no corruption here, you've told me there's no corruption here, why not just say what's happening and the public will be happy? Because there's nothing wrong with that in your mind. But apparently, the fact that it took 6 months to get back to me, there is something wrong. The board did not want to respond because of probably the election. Why, to write one sentence, essentially, it took them 6 months? I filed a complaint on May 19th the first time, and then I gave another copy on August 8th. Why so many months to give one sentence response? Because it is political and it is corrupt, and the ethics board should change. Since I'm going to run out of time, at the next meeting I will go through the details of what we should do to enhance the ethics law in the town of Hempstead, so everyone gets a fair shake.